as I was preparing for the team call, I was having a hard time coming up with the topic. I mean, for those of you who've been with me since the beginning, like I think Amanda's probably the one that's been here the longest so far. I feel like we've gone over like everything we could possibly go over. Like, I don't know sometimes like what else to talk about, but it's like when I start to just chill out, hi Lillian, when I start to chill out a little bit and really think about some of the things that come into my mind as a coach, because it's constantly swirling with questions and inspiration and stuff. And when I was at Super Saturday, I was sitting with several of our local coaches, and Sarah was there. And I'm hoping she's going to be on the call tonight, because I'm totally going to call her out and tell her the story, tell you guys her story. But as I was sitting with her, and I was kind of, her and her husband were there, and I kind of reached over and I was like, so you're going to go on the trip, right? Like, it was just after the Dominican Republic success had been announced, and she kind of looked at me and she was like, I don't know. And I was like, what do you mean you don't know? Like, why would you not sign up for it? And she was like, can I do that? And I was just like, I wanted to jump up and down like a toddler and be like, what are you talking about? Can you do that? Like, of course, like it's for everybody. But just the look on her face made me realize that there's a lot of things, a lot of myths out there that people don't realize that are possible. And by the look on her face, and I was, just telling her about the trip and how I felt the same way at one point, how I did not think that it was possible for me to go on one of these trips. Like, I told you guys in the post this morning, I saw a video of my coach, and can you put your phone on mute? I saw my coach make a video when she was on a cruise. It was like, gosh, just after I had signed up, I believe. And I was like, oh, that looks like fun. Yeah, that's what all the successful coaches do. And I never even imagined, or it never occurred to me that I would be doing that too. It just kind of wasn't in my mindset yet, And then when she got back and we kind of started talking about it, and she was like, so you're going to sign up for the 2015 one, right? And I had the same look on my face that Sarah did. And I was like, I'm not that kind of coach. Like, what are you talking about? Why would I go? I'm not Lindsay Matway. I'm not Melanie Mitro. And she was like, you're crazy. It's not that hard. Like, you just have to do your job. And as you do your job, you acquire these points. And that's what I was telling Sarah. And we kind of started talking about it, and she's so cute. She kind of does this little like rocking back and forth, and she's like, okay. Yeah, maybe I can. And it just kind of made me crack up to see that we went from, in 5 minutes, from this, like, she never even considered it, to like, maybe it's possible. And it just kind of got me thinking, like, okay, what else maybe you guys might not think, or maybe there's things that's going through your head that are holding you back. And so that's where I kind of got the idea for the myths here tonight. So I will go ahead and go into my slideshow real quick here. Hang on a sec. Okay, can you guys see that okay? Can I get a thumbs up? No? Can you see the slideshow?
Yeah.
Okay. So myth number one I want to talk about is that nobody's paying attention, and you're getting crickets. Well, yeah, you might be getting crickets, but the idea that no one's paying attention to you is completely false. Just because we're not getting, whoever doesn't have their phone on mute, could you please fix that? Just because you're not getting people knocking on your door asking you to be their coach doesn't mean that they're not watching. And in fact, I feel like they're kind of waiting on us. They're waiting to see if all of this stuff works. If, all the stuff they see about Beachbody and all the stuff you've been saying and how great it is, like, they're waiting to see if it actually works. I feel like they're waiting for us to be consistent and as dedicated as we might be asking them to be, or as committed and dedicated as they want to be. They're waiting for us as coaches to prove that this stuff is legit, that it's real. So yeah, you may be posting over and over and over again and you're not getting, 50 likes and 20 comments and people saying, I want in. But I promise you that people are absolutely paying attention. And I mean, that's why proof of the product is one of our vital behaviors. Because if you're not being proof of the product, what do you have, right? Other than an invite? Because that invite can be very empty if you don't have any credibility behind it. And when you are proof of the product, that is massive, massive credibility. I want to bring up Marissa really quick. She might be on the call here, but I want to tell a little story about her. I actually ran into her at the grocery store. We live like 2 miles from each other. She's one of Stacy's coaches, and she's been a coach for a couple months. And she's gotten a slow start, and she's admitted that maybe she didn't, read a lot of the information, or she kind of jumped in because she was so excited. And she got kind of a slow start, but then just recently, her and her husband are going to Vegas in the next few weeks. And so her husband, Todd, decided to do the 21-day fix with her. And so over the past, I want to say maybe week and a half now, they've been doing that, and she's been sharing the results. And he has lost like a ton of weight, like 15 pounds, I think, in a week. And so he is doing a great job, and she's been sharing the progress that he's had. And because they're a couple, I kind of consider that proof of the product too. And she's also doing it. But sharing his progress has given her so much more credibility that she just hit Success Club 6, and she signed up a coach because she's sharing this progress. So had she not been sharing his progress, or had they not been doing this, and she had just been sending out invite after invite after invite and not being real consistent with anything else, no one's really going to take that and say, okay, I trust you. But once you start to show that credibility, and you start to show that you are also living that lifestyle, and that you are being proof of the product, not just a picture of you drinking your Shakeology, but you are losing weight. And I'm not saying you have to lose weight to have credibility, but you are using the product, and it's having an effect on you, whether that's emotionally, whether that's financially, whether that's physically, whatever that is. In her case, the credibility was her husband losing weight. So other sources of credibility could be sharing the financial wins. Who was I talking to? It was somebody else I was talking to, and they got to go and fill up their car with gas with their first paycheck. And that might not be a big deal, right? But to some people, that's a huge deal, because it's one less thing to worry about. And so that gave her credibility that this is working. So people are paying attention. So even though you feel like no one's paying attention, you have to continue to have that consistency, because on average, it is going to take someone like 5 to 7 exposures or invites to even feel like there's a possibility. And once you are consistent, and I mean consistent, not just, saying I'm a coach, but showing that you're living a lifestyle, showing that you can be trusted as a coach to take someone on their own journey, whether that is an upline, to help them start their own business, or whether that is in a challenge group to help them through the emotional and the physical process of losing that weight. People are not going to choose a coach to actually coach them just because they bought something for them. Like, it goes so much deeper than that. So I promise you, myth number 1, no one is paying attention. That is false. People are watching you. They will come to you at some point. I always consider it a not right now if they aren't saying anything. But I can't tell you how many times have people say, I've been watching you for months. And I think I'm freezing here. I've been watching you for months, and I finally decided to take the step and talk to you. So you got to continue that consistency. You got to continue to be proof of that product, no matter how many times you feel defeated, no matter how many times you feel like no one's watching. You cannot give up. I promise you, okay? You're just starting to roll your snowball here. Okay, myth number 2. This is a big one. And this is something I've learned the hard way. Myth number 2 is you can just wing it, right? You can just sit down, throw out a couple of messages, check your phone in the grocery store line, or while you're at your kid's soccer practice, and you can just wing it, right? False. If you're on this call, I'm assuming you are a business builder. I mean, yes, we have a great time on these calls, but I'm assuming you're here to learn something. So if you're here, I'm assuming you're a business builder, which means you want to know how to make it happen. And you can't make it happen by winging it, by not having a plan. So a couple of tips here to help you with that. Don't be a scrolling troll. I made that up. But what that means is don't get on Facebook and scroll for half an hour. I mean, how many times have you sat down to work and you find yourself, looking at other coaches' news feeds, or you find yourself looking at an Instagram account, or you get lost on the West Elm website, or maybe that's just me, but you find yourself getting lost in the web. And then, which is, the web is called that for a reason. And then you look back and you're like, oh my gosh, it's been like 45 minutes and I have done absolutely nothing to move my business forward. And if you guys listen to the National Wake Up Call with Melanie Mitro this week on Monday, she talked about this too. And she was absolutely right. You have to sit down with a plan. A lot of you work full time and a lot of you have kids. And so for those of you, I mean, everyone has something else going on in their life, right? But if you have young kids at home, or you have a full-time job, or something that takes a lot of your attention, you don't have time to sit and scroll and then eventually get your work done. Your time is very precious. You have to sit down, you have to have a plan, and you have to know what you're going to be doing. When I sit down sometimes, like I have my Power of Threes in front of me, which is, to me, probably one of the best documents I have ever used, because it tells me exactly what I need to do. It tells me exactly how many people I need to start connecting with, exactly how many people I need to, talk to, invite, and I can go above that. But it gives me a guide, it gives me a structure, and it gives me a plan. But so when I'm in the shower, or I'm driving the kids to school, or making my bed or whatever before I sit down and work, I kind of do a little pre-funk in my head. I can maybe I have like 2 hours to get like 4 coach calls done, a power hour. I got to create a challenge group ad, and I have to return a bunch of emails. I have 2 hours to do this. You have to sit down and be 100% focused, because if I sat down and I didn't have a plan to all those things I needed to get done, I guarantee I would be on the Wayfair website or Craigslist looking at puppies or something. But when you have that time that is so precious to you and you want to move your business forward, you can't sit there and waste time. You got to have something in your head like, okay, when I sit down, I'm going to be creating a challenge group ad. This is what I want to say. I'm going to invite this many people. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Because otherwise you're going to just get lost in the sea of that. I wanted to kind of give a quick shout out to, I'm going to move my screen here so I can see her face here. A quick shout out to Holly. So Holly is a newer coach, and she is extremely busy. She works full time. She has a brand new baby. She has a husband. So I hope you don't mind. I'm going to share this story real quick, Holly. But we were talking the other day, and she was like, I just don't know when I'm going to fit it in, and I'm just having kind of some time management concerns. And so we talked about writing out her day and figuring out where those moments are where she can really commit to, maybe a half hour here, half hour there. But regardless, trying to find the time in her day rather than hoping that she has time by actually scheduling that time. And the next day I get this message from her that was so fun. She was like, I feel so successful today. And it made my heart so happy, because she was like, I did it. I did my personal development. I watched a video. I invited some people. I did this. I worked. I got to be with my daughter. And she got to do everything she wanted to do because she planned it accordingly. And I loved that. It made me so happy to see and to hear her take that knowledge and put it into action. So sorry, Holly, I had to say that because it just was such a great example for what I'm talking about. But I think what you'll find too, you guys here, is that when you do have that time management and you do schedule your time, you are going to have more balance in your life, because when you're here, you're doing this. And when you're here, you're doing this. So if you're with your family, you're just with your family. You don't have to picking up your phone, put your phone away, or close your laptop. But when you're doing your Beachbody work, that is just your Beachbody work. No distractions. Don't answer your phone. Close the door, whatever that may be. For me, it brings me more peace to do that. Now, I have a bit of a different day because the kids are at school all day, but it doesn't mean that I don't have groceries to get, house to clean, errands to run, all the stuff that goes along with running a family and a household and volunteering and whatnot. So I'm not going to be on my phone all day, but I have that time in the morning. I do my work. That's it. And the kids get home. That's kid time. So if you send me a message and you see that I've looked at it, but I'm not answering, that's probably because it's not my time right then, right? But maybe later in the night, I'll go back to it and answer. So it'll just give you more peace and organization in your life if you can actually plan it. You got to be able to organize, okay, what do I want to get done? What is my goal? Am I trying to reach Success Club? Am I trying to recruit 4 coaches this month? What am I doing? Okay, what are those tasks that I need to get done in order to reach that goal? And then you have to strategize. When during my day am I going to invite? When during the day am I going to make a phone call to a friend who I'd love to have on my team? You have to schedule them. Myth number 3, I'm bugging people. I get this all the time. And I had felt this way too. I was afraid to reach out to people because I felt like I was just being one of those icky salespeople, right? But I mean, everyone's going to feel this way. And in order to be bold and to make those connections, you have to put yourself out there. Like 75% of the time, you have to be the one to take that initiation and to invite them. They're not necessarily going to come to you, whether it's coaches or challengers. You have to be bold and do that. But it doesn't mean you're bugging people. And I want you to think about what I'm about to say here. But I pulled up a stat today. And for 2015, the fitness industry was a $20 billion industry. Okay, so that's like things like Beachbody, products, diet thing. I mean, anything health and fitness related, $20 billion. Do you think an industry that is $20 billion rich isn't looking like, doesn't need more people to help? I mean, that's a lot of people looking for help. That's billions of dollars. So, I mean, the obesity rate is still much higher than it should be, that's for sure. People are always looking for fitness help, especially the kind that actually works. Not the wraps, not the pills, creams, not the crap, right? And we have so much to offer. We literally have the full shebang. We have the support, the community, the flexibility of the programs, the workouts, the nutrition. It's all there, and it's all 100% legit. I want you to think back to before you got started. And because I'm looking right at her, I'm gonna call Tracy out. Tracy's my cousin. And for like 2 years, I was like, come on, do this with me. Come on, do this with me. And she was kind of blew me off in a nice family manner, you know. But I know now how much it's changed her life. But I wouldn't have been bugging her for 2 years had I not believed in it and seen the value in it. I wasn't trying to sell her a wrap. I wasn't trying to give her a cream or a pill or, you know, something that was just ridiculous. It's because I believed in it and I knew that it could benefit her life because I knew the value of that and I wanted her to feel the value of that. And, you know, I bring this up because when I asked you earlier in the call, you said you'd lost 30 pounds. Just imagine if I had not been bugging you for so long, if I had not been posting. Your life would be different now. I mean, you had a huge health scare, huge. And now your life has completely changed, you know? And that's what I think about. I think about people like Tracy. I think about people like Samantha on our team who's lost, I want to say probably close to 40 pounds now. And her self-confidence just has gone through the roof. And she's now started her own coaching business. And her life is different now. And you got to think about that. When you think you're bugging people, put that one person in your mind that has had a major transformation. And then that'll go right out of your head because it's really about what you can offer and the value that we offer. I mean, I've heard time and time again from challengers that it's usually that self-doubt and the lack of confidence that holds them back from reaching out to me, which is why the inviting process is so important. People are not always going to be jumping up and down asking for your help. And, you know, in fact, they might not even know what we do as coaches. They might just kind of just box us into the other companies that, because unfortunately, there's a lot of Beachbody coaches that don't run this business well. And they're very in your face and it's very stock photos. And, you know, they're really selling. They are driving home the selling, not the sharing, not the supporting. And so some people don't quite know what we do as coaches and the value that the role of a coach plays. So when you initiate that conversation, you start to plant the seed. When you start to invite them, maybe that self-doubt and that confidence starts to fade away and they think, okay, maybe I should start thinking about this. Because if you're continuing to post about yourself and your own journey and your own transformation, or maybe it's about your own coaching career, people start to see that and the seed gets planted. They start to think about it a little bit more. But, I was thinking about this opportunity and how much it's changed our lives. On so many levels, like financially for sure. And, I've always been an athlete, but I do think physically it's changed me too, because I've learned so much. But I want to say maybe more emotionally too, just finally finding something that I feel like I can be good at, or I feel like that I really love to do, that I'm excited to wake up and do. And had my upline Whitney not asked me to be a part of this, like if I knew then what I knew now, is that how it goes, right? I would be so mad if she hadn't invited me. If I got to take a peek into my future and I had said no to her and I ignored her, I would be furious. And I want to be able to pay that forward. I truly feel like what we have to offer is a gift. I honestly do, because I know how much my life has changed. I look at Tracy and I see how fit and healthy and happy she is now, and she wants to help other people feel that way. So when you feel like you're bugging people, understand the value that lies within your heart and know that you are here for a reason. There is something that drew you here, and there's just immense value in what we offer. Okay. All right. Number 4. Oh, this is my favorite. You can be an overnight success. 3 simple steps and you will be a millionaire. Well, first of all, BS, right? Let me move my screen here real quick, guys. Okay. I love to look at the screen or at Amanda when I'm talking, because she makes me feel like I'm really funny, because she laughs at everything I say. It's like a one-woman show for Amanda. She's always like, oh, go on. Okay, number 4. You can be an overnight success. So false. And we all know that. We all know that this is not an overnight get rich quick thing. I'm going to take some information here from one of my favorite books and kind of pass it on to you. A lot of you have, I know Amanda's read it, The Compound Effect. I think Raquel's read it. Not sure who else. But it's just by far one of my favorite books. If you have not read The Compound Effect, get it yesterday. All right, I'm serious. So some of this might sound familiar, but it's something I got to drive home here. He talks about choices and how every single choice that we make affects us. And that we have to have patience and allow those small choices to add up to what eventually will have explosive results. All right. That means a thriving business, a growing team. The small choices can actually be subtle and deceptive. This is just so powerful to me. You might not realize that every day you sit down and you do your power of 3s, that you actually are building a successful business, a relationship building business. Okay, sorry, I lost my train of thought here. But when you sit down to do your business, you don't see that you're building a business, right? You don't also see that when you're not sitting down to build your business. You don't see a great impact in your life, like say 6 months. You can run your business, you can work your business, you can do your power 3s, and maybe not much has changed, right? But if you're not doing your business, nothing's really changed either, but it's that long-term effect. So you're going to have to ask yourself, do you want to look back in a year and see that absolutely nothing has changed? That you might be still living like paycheck to paycheck. Maybe you're still waiting for the perfect time to get started, or that you're watching people like pass you by in this business and go on free trips and have the life that they, have designed. This is just not an instant gratification in this business. You will not be making $1,000 a week in your first month, or even in your 3rd month, or maybe not even in your 6th month. But if you stick with it and you continue to make those small choices that help you move in the right direction, you eventually will. So if sitting down for at least 1 hour a day to do your power 3s each and every day, doing your 3 vital behaviors each and every day, which by the way is such a small fraction of your day, if you think about it, it's nothing. It's an hour a day-ish, right? Think about how small those tasks are, inviting those 3 people a day. But when those small tasks add up, that's when you get the biggest reward. You are definitely going to be hitting speed bumps and traffic jams along the way, but it's up to you to get back on track. You got to recalculate that focused GPS, because there is going to be distractions. Life's going to happen. Life throws you curveballs. There might be a death in the family. There might be a birth in the family. You know, there might be a job loss or a divorce or a marriage or whatever that may be. But it's up to you to get back on track. But I think what we really need to remember is that the small choices are not going to bring you what you're looking for right now. And I think, actually, I know that's why a lot of coaches quit, because they work the business for a month or two and they don't see the growth that they hope for. They get frustrated. This is not a short-term business. This is a long-term deal. Think about it in a weight loss situation. This is one of the great examples I took from the book that I love. Okay, so say you're done with dinner, all right, and you have a choice. You have a choice between this warm, gooey chocolate cake or a tall glass of cold water, right? I know which one I want to choose. But that's the kind of choices that we're faced with, right? So if I eat this chocolate cake, oh, I'm going to be super duper happy, right? It's going to be so warm and gooey, and I'm going to instantly have pleasure. If I have this tall glass of water, I'm going to feel nothing, right? But long term, if I choose that glass of water every single time, am I going to reach my weight loss goals more so than I would eating the chocolate cake every time? Yeah, absolutely. But that's the crappy part. The wrong choice brings you instant pleasure, the instant gratification, right? What's the wrong choice or the instant gratification when it comes to our business? It's sleeping in. It's choosing to go get a mani-pedi when you have an extra hour versus maybe sitting down and working for a little bit. Maybe it's, not working out and watching TV instead. Those are the instant gratification things that we want right then, because maybe we're tired, and what would feel good right now is sitting down and watching TV, not pushing play, not being proof of the product. But if we do what we don't want to do, we get to where we want to be, right? If we choose that glass of water every single time, if we choose to sit down and work our business instead of sitting down to watch TV, time and time and time again, you're going to look back in 6 months to a year, and you're going to see a thriving business. You're going to see progress. You're going to see income, right? And I think that's the part that so many coaches give up on, because they realize, oh crap, this takes sacrifice. I'm going to have to do things that I don't want to do in order to be an entrepreneur. Heck yeah. I mean, there are so many times where my husband's like, will you watch Scandal with me? And I'm like, I got a team call, or I need to prep for a team call, or I have to go to bed early because I got to wake up. And, he'll grump around for a while, but then, how many months later I'll show him a paycheck and he's like, I'm so proud of you. And I'm like, told you. I did not need to sit down and watch TV, but it's like, it's the long term. You have to think of this as a long-term business, because it will not give you the instant gratification. For the newer coaches, I'm really sorry to break this to you. You have to put in the time and the energy day in and day out for it to form into what you want it to be. And the beautiful thing is that you don't have to do it all at once. That's why we have things like the Power of Threes. It's a daily document. You're not asked to sit down as your own CEO here and say, okay, you have to hit Success Club 10 tonight. You have a whole month. You have one document to help you day by day by day, right? Okay. We're almost done here, Amanda. Don't fall asleep on me. Okay. Myth number 5, success is always exciting. I mean, we want it to be, right? The path to success is always going to be super exciting. No. Because in fact, the work it takes to build a successful coaching business is not sexy at all. Nowhere in the near future will I be on Bravo TV with a reality show of watching me sit in my yoga pants and my dirty hoodie and my hat, my unwashed hair, doing my Power of Threes. It's not sexy. It's not exciting. But, it's going to be boring sometimes. It's going to be mundane. It's going to be painful. It's going to be scary. It's going to be frustrating, and it's going to be defeating sometimes. A lot of you have felt that already. New and old coaches, you hear no, 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 no. What do you want to do? Fine, I'm done. I give up, right? Yeah, that's going to happen. That's part of the process. It's like growing. It's like growing pains, right? You have those growing pains in your business. Or it's like when you cut your bangs and they're way too short, you have that painful process of them growing out. Yeah, you got to go through the embarrassment and the pain to get to the beautiful long bangs you asked for in the first place, right? But we don't always see that journey that it takes. We see these big colorful ads from Anita Myron that says 300% raise, or we see a picture of Megan Eagleson standing in front of a brand new car that she's like, I pay cash. And you're like, why can't I do that tomorrow? You know, there's so much behind that. There's so much that those women have done to be in the top 10 and to make, you know, 18,000 a week to get there. And that's one of the legit numbers from one of those girls. So I would like that. I don't know about you, but I'll take 18 grand a week. But there's just so much that goes on behind the scenes, and it's the choices that they made, those small choices we just talked about on a daily basis. They chose the boring water instead of the cake, right? Sorry, I lost my notes here. Oh, I am so organized. Didn't I just say be organized, right? Oh, okay. Okay, so like I say here, the difference between the successful people and the unsuccessful people is that what? The successful people do the things that they don't want to do. Do you think Melanie Mitro really loves to be rejected? No. Do you think Brittany Powers, she's number 10 in the company, loves to sit down and, you know, shoot out invite after invite after invite after invite after invite constantly and probably hear no, 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 it's too expensive or, you know, whatnot? No. Do you think everyone wants to face their fears? Absolutely not. But that's the difference between the successful people and the unsuccessful people, is that you do it anyway. I know that I used to get sweaty hands or shaky hands and sweaty pits, or either sweaty hands and shaky pits. I don't know. But, you know, and I still do. But that doesn't stop me because I know what I'm going for. It's like, I feel like I'm on autopilot now. It's probably just because I've been doing this for 2.5 years, but I still get those physical reactions when I get nervous, and I still get nervous. There's still people that intimidate me or impress me, but I want to be a part of what they're doing, or I want information, or I want to invite them into what I'm doing. I don't like it. Okay. We're not, you know, you're not born with loving rejection or loving defeat. You just got to do it anyway. So yeah, it's not always going to be exciting at all. And I wish I could find the rest of my notes, but I think that's probably it. But yeah. All right. Let me stop that here. That was a hot mess there. Okay. All right. If you guys want to take your microphones off mute. Oh, I see some new faces. All right. Marissa, did you hear me talking about you? Were you on yet?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. So any questions, anything you want to bring up? What are your thoughts? I mean, I guess what I'd love to hear is, did any of you have those thoughts? Those myths? Like, did you have any of those thoughts when you first started?
Yeah, I still do.
Oh yeah? Tell us about that.
You know, it's when you post and you don't get the likes or you don't get the comments, I know I'm being watched. I really do. People talk about it when I go to functions or I go to practices. Hey, I saw your post or whatnot. They didn't like it, but I know they're watching.
Yeah.
So, you know, sometimes it does get frustrating.
Yeah. And I, you know, on a side note for that, and maybe this is going a little bit too much into detail, but if you are continuously not getting any feedback, maybe it's time for a reevaluation. Like Raquel actually was, you know, asking about her inviting process. And she's like, well, I'm not really getting the responses that I wanted. Can you take a look at it? And, you know, let's see how we can adjust it. Like that was a brilliant thing to do because she was hoping for that feedback. So, but my opinion or my response to her was, it's fantastic. Give it time and don't give up. But it could have been that maybe she had sent an invite that was like, yo, we should hang out. And then I would have been like, no, that's probably not the right way to do it, you know? But it's good to get that evaluation and maybe get someone else's opinion if that's something that's consistent over time. But in general, if it's something like Raquel, when I'm like, no, it's fantastic, just keep going, then that's when you just need to continue. And you've got to find that grit and that perseverance inside that says, you know what, I'm going to do this. I know what I'm doing is good and solid and right. And eventually it's going to happen. But guess what happens when you give up? You have to start all over again. Because it's the momentum. Every single time you post, every single conversation you have, imagine a little snowball, and it gets bigger and it gets bigger and it gets bigger and it gets bigger, right? Okay, it's slowly growing. Despite opinions, despite the validation from anybody else, it's continuing to grow. And eventually, it's going to roll down the hill, right?
Right.
But good thing to bring up. Anybody else?
I think what you said about the scrolling troll was like, I'm pretty sure majority of coaches have been there at one point or another, but that first month, like you just get sucked in. You're like, I feel like I have no idea what I'm doing. And, you know, I would say even not until this month did I really focus on the power of threes and really, you know, laying it out and time management in that, because I felt like, I mean, when my toddler starts telling me, Mama, put your phone in your pocket, Mama, put your phone in your pocket, you know, it's like, no, that's not what I'm doing this business to spend more time with them, not take away time with them. And being concise and knowing exactly what I need to get done and setting that aside a time, or setting that time aside, like has already proven to be so much healthier for me, for my family, and much more productive in my business. So
good. I'm so glad to hear that. The one thing, and I can say this because I was in real estate, and there's a very time sensitive situation in real estate, which is one of the things I really did not like about it. I wanted to be able to put my phone away on a vacation or, you know, for a day, like go for a day hike and not worry about whether I was going to miss something. And there were times where I would miss a deadline and they're like, well, you need to have the documents in by 4:00. And I'm like, well, I'm just heading up to go report it, you know? And the thing is that there's no emergencies in Beachbody. That's what I love. You can put your phone down for 4 hours and spend time with your family. Come back and check your messages. I guarantee that you have not missed the deadline. You're not going to get sued by the state of Oregon because you didn't turn in a document, right? So there's no emergencies. And that's what you create. When you hear all these coaches, and myself included, talk about the freedom and the flexibility, that's exactly what it is. You create that. You say, I'm going to work from 9 to 12, and then I'm going to take the rest of the day off, and I'm going to do whatever I want to do. Because you don't have to sit down and do this business for 8 hours a day. You just don't. You'd run out of things to do. But you create that freedom and that flexibility, but it only works if you have a plan. Because I've had my kids say the same thing, Raquel. Mommy, why are you working? We're home from school. And I'm like, oh, I was home for 8 hours. Why am I doing this right now? Right? So anyone else? Any comments or questions or heys?
I think not all the time, but every once in a while, the feeling of bugging people creeps in, even though you know you're not, and you know you're just, you know, like you said, just offering what we have, and they can say yes or no. But there are people that they'll tell you to follow up, and then when you follow up, you kind of get that feeling like maybe they weren't quite ready yet for the follow up, but they told you to, and you know, I don't know, that still creeps in every once in a while. But
sure, no, of course, I think that's just a human nature thing to feel. You know, we're just kind of timid in that, and like, sorry, but until someone says, leave me alone, there's no reason to stop following up. But if someone said that to me, I'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I feel terrible. Like, I don't think it'd get to that point. It's never happened. But, and you know, it takes how you respond and how you follow up too. It doesn't have to be, so are you going to buy the challenge pack? Like, I don't follow up that way, you know, but it's a follow up like, hey, how are you? You said that you were, you know, working to lose that last 10 pounds. I saw the last picture of you. You look great. How are you? That had nothing to do with be in my challenge group or be a coach. It was just a check-in, a follow-up. There's so many natural ways to follow up with people that don't require you being a jerk. you know, and actually making them say, leave me alone. Anybody else before we head out here? I see some sleepy eyes. All right, you guys. Well, I hope that was helpful. I hope that was useful. I just, and I guess going back to, some of you missed the beginning, but going back to the conversation that I told you about with Sarah, I want you to think about this too. Because I know there's some hesitation with people like, well, I don't really know if I want to sign up for the trip, and you know, there's commitment and all that. And I understand that. But if the hesitation is yourself and you don't think you're capable, you don't think that, you know, this is something that is possible for you, I want you to take that thought, put it on the ground and smash it, step all over it, because there is absolutely no reason why you can't go. There's nothing that makes me different or all those other people that have gone on these trips that makes it any different than you. The only difference was that I did the things that I want to do on a daily basis, right? I mean, trust me, I love my job, but you know, over and over and over again, had the consistency. That's how I've earned 2 trips so far for free. And you guys can too. And I'll tell you, they are an absolute blast. It's not just you go on a vacation and you're there with your spouse and you do your own thing. No, you are thrown into the world of Beachbody. No, you don't go to trainings, but you get food and fireworks and parties and music, and you meet all these other coaches, and the trainers are walking around, and you're just like in this la la land of love, and you feel valued, and you realize that when you get there, that you're there because you busted your butt to get there. And along the way, you actually built a business. So it's a win-win for everybody. You build a business, you earn income, and as a icing on the cake, you go on a free trip. Like, to me, that sounds great. I think Beachbody is extremely smart for setting up these trips because it does make me want to work harder. I love to go on these trips. They're a blast. And here we are exactly 2 months from today, and I'm taking my husband to the Caribbean. I never thought in a million years I would do that. I saw so many coaches before I even became a coach going on these trips. And I always thought, oh, that's probably like the Millionaires Club or this and that. No, not at all. I was a diamond coach when I went to Cancun, I think. So you don't have to be a 10-star diamond to go, right? So think about it. I want all of you guys there. For selfish reasons, I want you there with me. I want you and your spouse or whoever you choose to bring. I want to have a big party. I want to jump in the ocean with you guys. I want to have margaritas. Like, this is a team thing. This isn't just me going with my husband. I want you guys there too. So I got a chance to register early today, but you guys will be able to register on the 19th at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 a.m. Literally have your finger on the button at 8:55 ready to go because it sold out, I want to say, in like 5 minutes last year. So you got to do it quick and get your deposit in there and then work your butt off the rest of the year because you can absolutely be there, right? So, all right, you guys. Good to see you all. I love the turnout tonight, by the way. Thank you. So cool to see you guys. So, all right, you guys. I will talk to you soon. If you have any questions, you know where to find me.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.